Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving headfirst into the world of energy efficiency.
Sounds exciting.
It is, actually. We'll be uncovering those practical, everyday tips and tricks that can save you money and energy.
Love it. Everyone loves saving money.
Exactly. And it's not just about the dollars and cents.
Right.
Did you know that studies suggest up to a whopping 60% of energy is wasted globally just in generation and transmission?
Wow, 60%. That's a lot of wasted potential.
It is. Just imagine what we could do if we could harness all that lost energy.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to focus on energy efficiency.
I totally agree. Even the smallest changes we make in our daily lives can have a ripple effect, especially when we all start making those changes.
It's like a collective effort toward a more sustainable future.
Exactly. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I'm curious about something. How do we even begin to identify the biggest energy hogs in our homes? Where should we focus our efforts?
Well, you usually want to start with the big four:
Okay, hit me with them.
lighting, heating and cooling systems, appliances, and transportation.
Ah, the usual suspects.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Once you pinpoint those energy guzzlers in your own life, you can start targeting the changes that'll have the most impact.
Makes sense. Okay, let's start with lighting. Now, I know everyone's probably heard about LED bulbs and how much more efficient they are, but can you give us some juicy details? Just how much more efficient are we talking about here?
Oh, LEDs are the rock stars of the lighting world, no doubt. They use up to 80% less energy than those old incandescent bulbs. And here's the kicker: they last up to 25 times longer.
Wow, that's impressive. So it's not just about saving energy, it's about saving money on replacements, too.
Exactly. And it's not just about the energy savings either. LEDs are way more versatile. They come in a wide range of color temperatures, so you can actually customize the lighting for each room.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Warmer tones for cozy spaces, cooler tones for task lighting.
So we're not just talking about efficiency, we're talking about creating the perfect ambiance, too. Now, I know LEDs can be a bit pricier up front. Is the long-term cost savings really worth it?
Oh, absolutely. You got to think long term. The initial cost of an LED bulb might be higher, but remember, they last much, much longer.
Good point.
I mean, think about it. You'll replace incandescent bulbs multiple times before you even need to think about a new LED.
Yeah, that's true.
That alone makes a huge difference in cost over time.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about disposal? Are there any environmental concerns with those fancy light-emitting diodes?
That's a great question. It's definitely best to recycle LEDs at designated facilities.
I figured as much.
They do contain small amounts of metals and other materials that need to be handled properly, but overall, the environmental impact is far less than traditional bulbs,
Okay, that's good to know.
especially when you consider the energy savings and reduced manufacturing needs over their lifespan.
So, big win for the environment in the long run. All right, so besides making the switch to LEDs, what are some other low-hanging fruit, so to speak, when it comes to saving on lighting?
Well, the classics are still gold. Turning off lights in empty rooms.
Oh, yeah, my parents used to yell at me about that all the time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And take advantage of natural daylight whenever possible.
Can't argue with free lighting. What else?
Oh, motion sensors are great too.
Yeah,
Especially in areas like hallways or bathrooms where lights might get left on accidentally.
smart. All right, let's move on to those other power-hungry culprits, appliances. What are your top tips for tackling those?
So regular maintenance is key. A well-maintained appliance runs more efficiently
Right.
and lasts longer too. Think of it like getting your car tuned up. Improves performance and saves you money in the long run.
Makes sense. Any other tips for making sure our appliances are running as efficiently as possible?
Absolutely. When it's time to replace an appliance, look for the Energy Star label.
Ah, yes. The Energy Star label.
That little blue badge is your guarantee that the appliance meets higher efficiency standards.
So we should be on the lookout for that.
Definitely. It means you could be saving anywhere from 10% to 50% less energy compared to standard models.
Wow. 10 to 50%. That's a significant difference.
It really is.
Okay, that Energy Star label is officially on my radar now. Now, let's dive into another sneaky energy guzzler, water heating. What are some clever ways to conserve energy in this area?
You're so right. Water heating is often overlooked, but it can be a significant energy drain. First things first, lowering your water heater temperature to 120 degrees Fahrenheit is usually plenty hot for most needs.
Okay, that's a good starting point.
And then think about installing low-flow shower heads and faucets. Using less water means less water needs to be heated, which of course translates into energy savings.
Makes perfect sense. And I've heard that insulation is a game changer when it comes to water heaters. Is that true?
Absolutely. Insulating your water heater and pipes helps trap that precious heat.
So we're keeping all that hot water nice and toasty.
Exactly. And that makes your system much more efficient. Speaking of efficiency, let's talk about how technology can be our energy-saving sidekick these days.
Ah, yes. The rise of the smart home. Everyone's talking about smart devices these days, but how can they actually help us save energy? What's the real deal here?
Well, smart home technology can be a game changer when it comes to energy management.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Think smart plugs, thermostats, and lighting systems. These devices allow you to control and automate your energy use, often right from your smartphone.
Oh, wow.
Imagine being able to turn off lights, adjust the thermostat, or even power down devices from anywhere in the world.
That's incredible. So convenient.
It is incredibly convenient, but it's not just about convenience. These systems often come with energy monitoring features.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they give you insights into your consumption patterns.
So you can actually see where your energy is going.
Exactly. And then you can make adjustments based on real data.
That's amazing. So we're talking about taking control of our energy usage and making informed decisions. But what about the automation part? How does that work?
That's where it gets really interesting. With automation, you can set schedules to automatically turn off lights or adjust the thermostat.
Okay.
You can even power down devices when they're not in use. It's like having an energy-saving assistant working behind the scenes, making sure you're not wasting energy even when you're not thinking about it.
That's brilliant. So we're taking the human element and potential forgetfulness out of the equation. All right. Now, no conversation about energy efficiency is complete without talking about renewable energy sources. How can we bring the power of nature into our homes?
Harnessing renewable energy is definitely the future, and it's becoming more accessible than you might think.
That's great to hear.
Solar panels and wind turbines are becoming increasingly popular for residential use, allowing homeowners to generate their own clean energy.
Wow. So we can actually power our homes with the sun and wind.
You got it. And I got to tell you about something called net metering.
Net metering. What's that?
It's this fantastic system that lets homeowners with solar panels sell any excess energy they generate back to the grid.
Wait, so not only are you powering your own home with clean energy.
But you can potentially offset your energy costs
Wow.
or even earn credits.
So it's a win-win for your wallet and the environment.
Exactly.
That sounds incredible. I'm definitely going to have to look into that. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground already, from simple tips to cutting-edge technology. It's clear that energy efficiency is a multifaceted topic. Before we move on, let's take a moment to recap the key takeaways so far. What do you say?
Sounds good. First, we emphasize why energy efficiency is so crucial.
Right.
It's about saving money, yes, but it's also about reducing our environmental impact, improving air and water quality, and creating a more stable energy grid.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And then we talked about the importance of understanding our personal energy consumption patterns.
Right. By identifying those energy hogs, we can make targeted changes for maximum impact.
Exactly. Then we explored simple yet powerful strategies for reducing energy consumption in lighting, appliances, and water heating. We highlighted the incredible energy savings of LED bulbs, the value of the Energy Star label, and the importance of regular appliance maintenance.
We did. And we can't forget about diving into that exciting world of smart home technology.
Oh yeah, those smart homes. So cool.
They can be our ally in automating energy-saving behaviors, that's for sure. And of course, we touched on the potential of renewable energy sources like solar panels and wind turbines to revolutionize how we power our homes.
It's been quite a journey already. But before we dive deeper into this topic, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into energy efficiency. All right, welcome back, everyone. We just spent some time getting granular with energy savings around the house.
We did. It's amazing how much energy we can save just by making a few simple changes.
I know, right? But now I'm curious to zoom out a little. What's happening on a larger scale? You know, the global energy landscape and all that?
Well, it's a fascinating picture, for sure. As we transition towards a more sustainable future, the way we produce and consume energy is going to have ripple effects across the entire planet.
So it's all connected.
Absolutely. And energy efficiency is going to be a major player in this shift, helping us reduce our dependence on fossil fuels.
Right.
And paving the way for a cleaner, more equitable energy future.
That sounds pretty ambitious. What are some of the key technologies and trends driving this transition toward a more sustainable energy future?
Well, one area that's seeing incredible innovation is energy storage.
Energy storage. Okay, tell me more about that.
So we've talked about solar and wind power, right?
Right.
One of the challenges with these renewable sources is that they're intermittent.
In what way?
Well, the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow.
Ah, I see. It's not always consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with advancements in battery technology, particularly lithium-ion batteries, we can capture that energy when it is abundant and then use it later when needed.
Oh, that's a great idea. So it's like a giant backup battery for the whole planet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It helps to smooth out those bumps and make renewable energy more reliable.
Wow, I had no idea. But what about other renewable energy sources beyond solar and wind? Are there any promising technologies on the horizon?
Oh, absolutely. Geothermal energy, for example, is a really fascinating field.
I've heard of geothermal energy, but I don't know much about it. How does that work?
Well, it taps into the heat beneath the Earth's surface.
Oh, interesting.
It's a really reliable and sustainable source of power that's not dependent on weather conditions like solar or wind.
That's a huge advantage. What else is out there?
Oh, and then there's hydropower.
Hydropower, like dams.
Yeah, exactly. Hydropower harnesses the energy of moving water. It's actually one of the oldest and most established forms of renewable energy.
I didn't know that.
And it continues to play a vital role in the global energy mix.
Okay, so geothermal, hydropower, solar, wind. It seems like there's a whole world of renewable possibilities out there.
There is. It's exciting.
It is exciting, but I imagine there are challenges to adopting these technologies on a large scale. What are some of the hurdles we need to overcome?
Yeah, good point. One of the biggest barriers is often the upfront cost of installation.
That makes sense.
For example, installing solar panels on your roof can require a significant initial investment.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But it's important to remember that these systems can pay for themselves over time
How so?
through energy savings and potential incentives. Plus, they add value to your home and contribute to a cleaner environment.
Okay, so it's about weighing those long-term benefits against the initial costs.
Right.
Which can be daunting, but ultimately worthwhile.
Exactly. But cost isn't the only thing.
What else is there?
Well, infrastructure is another significant hurdle.
In what way?
We need to modernize our energy grid to effectively integrate these new technologies.
Right.
And make sure we can reliably distribute renewable energy. Smart grids, which use digital technology to optimize energy distribution and management, are a key part of the solution.
Smart grids, huh? So it's like having a brain for our energy system.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Making sure everything runs smoothly and efficiently.
That's really cool. What are some of the specific benefits of smart grids?
They offer a ton of advantages. For instance, they can balance energy supply and demand in real time.
Oh, wow.
They can also integrate renewable energy sources seamlessly and even allow for two-way communication between utilities and consumers, which allows us to make more informed decisions about our energy usage.
So we're not just passively consuming energy, we're actively participating in managing the grid.
Exactly. Okay, so we've been talking about these big picture solutions.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what can we do on a more personal level to contribute to this energy revolution? After all, it's not just our homes where we consume energy, right?
That's a great point. Our workplaces are another big area where we can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of the strategies we discussed for homes apply to businesses as well.
Yeah.
Switching to LED lighting,
Right.
upgrading to energy-efficient appliances,
Right.
optimizing heating and cooling systems.
Those are all great starting points. What about beyond those basics? Are there other ways businesses can promote energy efficiency?
Definitely. Businesses can implement energy management systems
Okay.
to monitor and control energy use across their entire facility.
So it's like having a whole building energy audit constantly.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
These systems track energy consumption, identify areas for improvement, and optimize energy usage for maximum efficiency.
Wow. So it's all about using data to make smart decisions.
Exactly. But it's not just about systems and technology. Encouraging employees to adopt energy-saving habits can make a big difference too.
Oh, of course.
Simple things like turning off lights when leaving a room,
Yeah.
paring down computers at the end of the day,
Right.
or even just using natural light whenever possible can add up to significant savings.
So those small individual actions can collectively make a real impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about individual actions.
Right.
We've talked about business solutions. But it seems like there's a missing piece here.
What's that?
How do we bring all these efforts together to create a truly sustainable energy future? It's not just about individual actions or even business initiatives. We need a collective shift in mindset
I like that. A collective shift.
and a commitment to collaboration. It's about fostering partnerships between governments, businesses, communities, and individuals, to create a shared vision for a sustainable energy future.
So it's about creating a movement, a wave of change that sweeps across all levels of society. What are some of the key ingredients for sparking this energy revolution?
Well, one crucial element is education.
Education, of course.
The more we understand about energy, the more empowered we are to make informed choices. We need to equip people with the knowledge and tools to embrace energy efficiency, advocate for renewable energy, and demand sustainable practices from businesses and policymakers.
It's about giving people the power to make a difference. But education alone isn't enough, is it? What else do we need to ignite this transformation? Wow, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive. It feels like we've journeyed from simple light bulb swaps to the complexities of a global energy grid. But what's next? What does the future hold for energy efficiency and a sustainable energy system?
It's amazing to see how fast things are evolving. Not just the technology itself, but how we think about energy.
Interesting. How so?
Well, for instance, there's this growing trend called demand-side management.
Demand-side management.
Yeah, but basically it empowers consumers to adjust their energy usage based on things like price signals or grid conditions.
Okay, I'm not sure I follow. Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine getting a notification on your phone saying, hey, energy demand is high right now. Could you hold off on running the dishwasher for an hour?
Ah, I see. So it's like we become active participants in managing the energy grid, not just passive consumers.
Exactly. And that kind of mindful energy use can make a huge difference, especially as we incorporate more renewable sources that fluctuate with weather patterns.
Right, because the sun isn't always shining and the wind isn't always blowing.
Exactly. And this ties back to those smart grids we talked about earlier. They're essential for making this kind of dynamic energy management possible.
It sounds like it's all connected, from the choices we make at home to the large-scale infrastructure needed to support a sustainable energy future.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important takeaway from this whole deep dive. Energy efficiency isn't just a technical concept, it's a movement.
I like that. A movement.
It's about individual actions, of course, but it's also about fostering a collective responsibility, for creating a more sustainable and equitable energy future.
Absolutely. We all have a role to play. But speaking of individual action, I'm curious, how can we inspire others to get on board with energy efficiency? Can it feel daunting to even know where to start?
Sometimes the simplest things are the most effective. Just start by having conversations. Share what you've learned with friends, family, or coworkers. Even small things like bringing reusable bags to the store or taking public transportation can be conversation starters.
Right. Those little things can really raise awareness about sustainability.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of leading by example. The more you embrace energy-efficient habits in your own life, the more you inspire others to do the same.
I love that. Walk the walk, talk the talk. Well, this has been a truly enlightening deep dive. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and for inspiring us all to be more mindful and proactive about energy efficiency.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all of our amazing listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of energy efficiency. Keep those creative energy-saving ideas flowing, and we'll catch you next time on